Have you ever felt utterly alone even in a crowded room? Not just physically isolated, but existentially adrift, as though the very ground beneath your feet has crumbled into dust? It's a feeling many of us know intimately, a silent scream echoing in the chambers of the heart. We chase connection, validation, anything to fill the void, yet the deeper we search outside ourselves, the more elusive true peace becomes. This isn't a script about escaping loneliness through social gatherings or fleeting distractions. It's about something far more profound, cultivating inner silence as a pathway to finding peace within that solitude. It's about transforming that feeling of emptiness from a source of anguish into a fertile ground for self-discovery. We often fear being alone with our thoughts, imagining a cacophony of anxieties and insecurities will overwhelm us. But what if beneath that noise lies a quiet wisdom waiting to be heard? Think of those moments when the world fades away, perhaps while watching a sunrise, listening to a piece of music, or simply breathing deeply in nature. In those instances, the constant chatter in our minds quiets, and a sense of profound connection emerges. This isn't merely a fleeting feeling. It's a state we can learn to nurture, a sanctuary we can build within ourselves. It requires courage, a willingness to confront the shadows that lurk in the corners of our minds, and a commitment to embracing the totality of our being. Many of us are taught to equate solitude with sadness, to believe that happiness lies solely in external relationships and achievements. We build our lives around avoiding that feeling of emptiness, filling our days with constant activity, seeking validation from others, and measuring our worth by external standards. But what happens when those external supports crumble? What happens when relationships end, careers falter, or the world throws us into unexpected isolation? It is in these moments that the true value of inner silence becomes clear. The journey towards inner peace and solitude isn't a passive one. It's an active process of self-inquiry, a deliberate turning inward to explore the landscapes of our own minds and hearts. It requires us to challenge our assumptions, question our beliefs, and confront our fears. It also demands a radical acceptance of ourselves, flaws and all. It's not about becoming perfect or achieving enlightenment. It's about learning to be present with ourselves, to find solace in our own company, and to discover the inherent worth that resides within. This exploration isn't about finding easy answers or quick fixes. It's about embarking on a lifelong journey of self-discovery, a quest to understand the depths of our own being. It's about learning to listen to the whispers of our soul, to trust our intuition, and to cultivate a sense of inner resilience that can withstand the storms of life. It's a path that requires patience, compassion, and a willingness to embrace the unknown. And ultimately, it's a path that leads us to a deeper understanding of ourselves, our place in the world, and the true meaning of peace. Let's now turn our attention to the very nature of inner silence. It's easy to mistake it for mere quietude and absence of sound, but it is in fact a dynamic state, a vibrant stillness teeming with potential. Think of a lake on a windless day. The surface is perfectly still, reflecting the sky above, yet beneath the surface a whole ecosystem thrives. Similarly, inner silence is not an emptiness but a space where our thoughts, emotions, and sensations can settle, allowing us to perceive them with clarity and equanimity. This capacity for quietude within is not something we're necessarily born with. It's a skill cultivated through conscious effort. Consider the experience of meditation. Many initially find it frustrating, their minds racing with thoughts, anxieties, and distractions. However, with consistent practice, they begin to notice a subtle shift. The thoughts still arise, but they no longer hold the same power. They become like clouds passing in the sky, observed without judgment or attachment. This is the essence of inner silence, the ability to observe our inner world without being swept away by it. A key aspect of nurturing this inner sanctuary involves understanding the difference between thinking and awareness. Thinking is the constant stream of mental chatter that occupies much of our waking hours, planning, analyzing, judging, and remembering. Awareness, on the other hand, is the spacious consciousness that underlies all of our experience. It is the silent witness that observes our thoughts, emotions, and sensations without getting caught up in them. Cultivating inner silence involves shifting our attention from thinking to awareness, from the content of our minds to the space in which that content arises. To put it another way, imagine you're watching a movie. Thinking is like getting completely absorbed in the plot, identifying with the characters and experiencing their emotions as your own. Awareness is like stepping back from the screen and observing the movie as a whole, noticing the lighting, the camera angles, and the overall narrative structure. It's a more detached, objective perspective that allows you to appreciate the movie without getting lost in it. Similarly, inner silence allows us to appreciate our lives without getting lost in our thoughts and emotions. Furthermore, it's important to recognize that inner silence is not about suppressing or avoiding our thoughts and emotions. It's about creating a space where we can acknowledge them without being controlled by them. Trying to suppress our thoughts is like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. It requires constant effort, and eventually the ball will pop back up with even greater force. Instead, we can learn to observe our thoughts and emotions with curiosity and compassion, allowing them to arise and pass away without judgment. This acceptance is fundamental to finding peace within solitude. Now consider how this applies when you face moments of intense emotional distress. Instead of immediately reacting or trying to distract yourself, try to pause and simply observe what's happening within you. Notice the sensations in your body, the thoughts that are arising, and the emotions that are present. Resist the urge to judge or analyze. Simply allow yourself to feel what you're feeling. With practice, you'll find that you can ride the waves of emotion without being capsized by them. This is the power of inner silence, to provide a safe harbor in the midst of the storm. As we begin to integrate these unfolding understandings, a crucial pattern emerges. We've navigated from an initial confrontation with the unease of solitude toward a deeper appreciation for the potential residing within, inner quietude. It becomes increasingly evident that the peace we often seek externally is, in reality, a state of being cultivated from within. The capacity to observe one's own internal landscape with compassionate detachment, as we've explored, isn't merely a coping mechanism for loneliness. It's a fundamental skill for navigating the complexities of human existence. The journey, thus far, has highlighted the transformative power of shifting our focus from the relentless pursuit of external validation to the deliberate cultivation of inner awareness. This isn't about rejecting connection with others, but rather about establishing a solid foundation of self-acceptance and inner resilience that allows us to engage with the world from a place of strength and authenticity. Think of it as learning to sail. You can't control the wind or the waves, but you can learn to adjust your sails and navigate the waters with skill and grace. Similarly, we can't control the external circumstances of our lives, but we can learn to cultivate the inner resources that enable us to navigate them with greater ease and equanimity. The subtle art of inner silence, as we've uncovered, isn't a passive withdrawal from the world, but an active engagement with our own inner reality. It's about creating a space where we can honestly confront our fears, insecurities, and vulnerabilities without being overwhelmed by them. It's about learning to embrace the totality of our being, flaws and all, and to find solace in our own company. This embrace, in turn, allows us to approach our relationships with others from a place of wholeness and authenticity, rather than from a place of need or desperation. Reflecting on this journey so far, it's clear that the path to finding peace in solitude isn't about escaping loneliness, but about transforming our relationship with ourselves. It's about learning to see solitude not as a punishment or a deprivation, but as an opportunity for self-discovery and inner growth. It's akin to an artist retreating to their studio. The solitude isn't a sign of failure, but a necessary condition for creativity and innovation. In the same way, solitude can be a fertile ground for cultivating our inner potential and for discovering the unique gifts that we have to offer the world. Now, as we move toward a final reflection, consider the cumulative effect of these insights. We've moved beyond the superficial understanding of solitude as mere isolation and delved into the profound potential it holds for self-discovery and inner peace. The ability to cultivate inner silence, to observe our thoughts and emotions with compassionate detachment, and to embrace the totality of our being, emerges as a cornerstone of a fulfilling and meaningful life. It's a journey that requires courage, patience, and a willingness to embrace the unknown, but the rewards are immeasurable. In the end, the quest for inner peace in solitude reveals itself as more than just a coping mechanism. It's an invitation to rediscover our inherent wholeness. It's about recognizing that the peace we seek isn't something to be found out there, in achievements, relationships, or distractions, but rather a state of being that resides within us, waiting to be awakened. The silence we cultivate becomes a mirror, reflecting back to us our truest selves, stripped of pretense and artifice. This journey inward asks us to challenge the pervasive narrative that equates worth with external validation. It encourages us to dismantle the belief that we are somehow incomplete or lacking when we are alone. Instead, it offers the liberating realization that we are already whole, already worthy, simply by virtue of being. This understanding, born from the depths of inner silence, transforms our experience of solitude from a source of anxiety into a wellspring of strength and self-acceptance. The practice of cultivating inner silence, then, becomes a radical act of self-love. It's about choosing to be present with ourselves, to listen to our own inner voice, and to honor our own unique path, even when it diverges from the expectations of others. It's about creating a sanctuary within ourselves where we can find solace, guidance, and inspiration, regardless of the external circumstances of our lives. As we step back into the world, armed with this newfound inner resilience, we are better equipped to navigate its challenges with grace and equanimity. We are less likely to be swayed by the opinions of others, less likely to be driven by the need for external approval, and more likely to act from a place of authenticity and integrity. Our relationships with others become more meaningful and fulfilling because they are rooted in a genuine connection rather than a desperate need for validation. The true practice begins now, in the quiet moments of your day. It begins with a conscious choice to turn inward, to listen to the whispers of your own soul, and to cultivate the inner silence that will guide you on your path. It's a journey that will undoubtedly have its challenges, its moments of doubt and uncertainty. But with patience, compassion, and an unwavering commitment to self-discovery, you will find that the peace you seek is not only attainable, but already within your grasp. Embrace the silence and discover the extraordinary power that resides within your own being.